Hi everyone, welcome to Forensic Photography class. I am Gonzales and I will be your instructor for this course. This is one of the major subjects in College of Criminal Justice Education and it covers the historical development, principles, and processes of photography in relation to law enforcement and criminal justice. This also includes the evolution of camera, photographic processes, and personalities behind the development of modern photography, the use of forensic light sources and techniques, and related laws and jurisprudence in photography. But before we get into that complicated topic of law enforcement and crime scene investigation, let us first understand the basic concept of photography. At the end of this session, you would be able to, number 1, define and explain the basic concept of photography. Second, identify the basic types, parts, and functions of a camera and its accessories. Third, discuss the significance of light or photographic rays in the field of photography. Fourth, list all the types and sources of light. Next, explain the concept of electromagnetic spectrum and colors of light. And the last one is to demonstrate proper techniques in taking photographs using a camera or even a smartphone. Okay, let's start. What is photography? Photography is the art or science which deals with the reproduction of images through the actions of light upon sensitized materials with the aid of camera and its accessories and the chemical process involved therein. When we say light, it is a form of radiant electromagnetic energy that travels in wave motion and it emanates from heat. The speed is about 186 miles per second. In this field, light is one of the key factors in preparing a successful photograph or image, because if there's no light, there could be no photography. There are two sources of light: natural light and artificial light. Natural light is used in outdoor photography, light coming from the sun, moon, stars, and other heavenly bodies. This our light came to exist without the intervention of man. Next is artificial light. These are lights that are man-made, such as incandescent bulbs and studio lightings. We can also include the built-in flash in the camera. This type of light is only used in indoor photography. Light can be classified as visible and invisible. Visible light is a type of light that produces different sensation when reached the human eye. It has a wavelength of between 400 to 700 millimicrons or nanometer. It also consists of 7 colors: the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, or known as the rainbow colors. Red has the longest wavelength and violet has the shortest wavelength. The presence of all colors is called white light. White light, or commonly known as visible light, is part of the electromagnetic spectrum that can be detected by the human eye. There are 3 primary colors of light: the red, green, and blue. The combination of red and green colors is yellow. Red and blue, the result will be magenta. And if you combine green and blue, the result will be cyan. And this is called the secondary colors of light. You should always remember that the presence of all color is called white and the absence of all colors is black. And now, let's talk about sensitized materials. In the field of photography, sensitized materials refers to those which are sensitive to light. There are 2 kinds of sensitized materials. One is photographic film, the second is photographic paper. Photographic film is a thin, transparent, flexible, acetate or polyester base coated with light-sensitive emulsion used in a camera to record a photographic image. If you would compare it to a digital camera, photographic film is just like a memory card, a chip wherein you could store all the images you captured. The only difference is, in memory card, all the images there are already visible, wherein in photographic film, you still have to do the process called the film development in order for the images to be visible. There are different kinds of film. Some films are sensitive to all colors except red. This is called orthochromatic film. There is also what we call blue sensitive film, which is sensitive to blue rays of light. Ordinary film or panchromatic film, it is suitable for general use in the preparation of black and white photograph. It is sensitive to all colors, especially blue and violet. Here are the basic film sizes. 110 film. This is a type of film that is very small and not good for enlargement. 35mm film. It is used for 35mm adjustable cameras and widely used today. 100 and 220 roll film is used by medium format cameras, and in 4x5 inch film, sharp photographs are possible as it requires less magnification. The next kind of sensitized materials is called the photographic paper. It is a type of light sensitized material that produces a positive result or photograph after the development, which is the final result of photography. A camera is a light-tight box used to capture images. Here are some of the accessories of the camera. We have lens, tripod, and filter. Did you know that the word photography came from the Greek word phos or photos, which means light, and graph or graphin, which means draw or write? The contributions of the important personalities like Joseph Nicephore Niepce, Louis Daguerre, and Henry Fox Talbot are the reasons why we have the more advanced world of photography today. Next is chemical process, and we call this process as film development. This is a process whereby a photographic film is treated after photographic exposure to produce the desired negative or positive image. The process transforms the latent image into a visible image and makes it permanent or fixed. In film development, we have chemicals or solutions that we need to prepare. Number one is film developer. It is a chemical agent or solution which causes development to take place. Number two is staph bath, an acid bath which instantly checks the process of development. It can be plain water only with 28% diethyl acetic acid. Number three is fixer, a solution used for removing the residual sensitive silver from a developed film. Camera is a light-tight box with the means of forming the image, with the means of holding sensitized material at one end, and with the means of controlling the amount of light. Different kinds of camera were available at the market. We have Polaroid camera, SLR, and the newest today is the digital. Purpose of the camera is to capture light and record the image. To capture and control the amount of light that will come in, lens is needed. It also controls how sharp or blurred the objects may appear to the sensor once recorded. Chemical curtain that blocks unnecessary light from coming into the sensor is called the shutter. Look at this chart. Here are the parts of the Nikon D3400 and the Canon camera. They are almost the same with the parts and the features, but Nikon D3400 is more advanced than the Canon. If you want to be a photographer, you need to learn and understand the basics. Let's start with the exposure triangle. The exposure triangle in photography is a principle that determines the amount of light that reaches your camera sensor. It has three main parts: the shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. You can control the aperture by calibrating the lens of your camera. The bigger the opening of the lens, the more light will enter in the camera. The aperture is measured in f-stop. The larger the f-stop number, the smaller the opening is, and therefore, the less light it lets into the camera. The International Organization of Standardization, or ISO, will determine the sensitivity of your camera sensors to light. ISO is represented by different numbers like ISO 100, ISO 200, and the highest is ISO 6400. The higher the ISO in the camera, the more sensitive the film is to light. Shutter speed is also known as exposure time. This is how long the camera shutter is open and the digital sensor or film is exposed to light. Shutter speed also allows you to freeze or blur a subject in motion. If you want to freeze a moving object just like in sport, you have to choose a faster shutter speed. If you want to blur it, then just use a lower shutter speed. Here's an example. Depth of field is the amount of distance between the nearest and the farthest objects that appear in acceptably sharp focus in a photograph. Observe this picture. Can you see the difference? And now, it's your turn.